Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the World's Rundown Under, Episode 3. I'm, of course, Max Atlas Anderson, your host. In this episode, we're going to be having a little bit more fun, whilst also going over the Groups C and D matches, having a look at the featured players, champion, and, of course, the top 5 plays. And we're also going to be having a cool little segment with our special guest. Speaking of which, we have 2 wonderful guests with us, of course, as per usual. Julian Pastry Time Carr is sitting next to me, of course, Shoutcaster Extraordinaire. I will say that every single episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, and now, newly, we do, of course, have Derek Radier Trang, AD Carry Extraordinaire as well, here from the Chiefs. Almost said Team Immunity, of course, formerly Team Immunity, now the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, friend.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Looking forward to round of 8.
Oh, hell yeah. It's going to be fantastic, of course, starting on the weekend here for the Oceanic Finals. But that's not what we're here to talk about. What I'd like to start off with is a fun little game, okay? This is a little bit out of left field, something we haven't quite tried before. Basically, what it is we're going to show you a clip, and we're going to pause it, and we're going to ask you to let us know what happens afterwards. So do you reckon you can handle it?
Yep, definitely.
All right, let's just jump straight into it. Let's open up our first clip and just see what the heck is going on. As we can see, we've got Alistair Corky versus Vane and Morgana. And basically, who is going to escape is the question. We'll have a pause soon. Here it is. So, are they going to live? Is the Corky going to live?
I think the Corky, assuming Morgana... No, I don't think the Corky will live. No, the Corky won't live.
Well,
Assuming the Morgana doesn't screw up a black shield, the Corky won't live.
Okay, so
As you can see the Udyr coming down to gank, so I really don't think Corky will live.
Okay, let's roll it. Let's see whether he's right.
And she missed a black shield. I mean her bind.
That was a
though?
godlike pulverize.
It was juicy. Uh-oh. Trouble in Paradise Radio.
My goodness.
Yeah, so... Yep, the Corky won't live.
Yep.
This guy's pretty good at AD carry.
I tell you. Okay, you picked it, but honestly, why did they stay there? That was a 3v2. All right, well, let's bring up the next one because I'm excited. Let's bring up the next one and have a look whether this person is going to survive this time. As we do have the flay coming through onto Lucian.
Remember to play at home, guys, as well, if you're watching our own stream. See if you're better than Radio at predicting what's going to happen.
Although it's pretty good in the last one. We do have the pause coming through. Now, we don't see any junglers this time. And I think the question is, will Lucian survive this one?
Yes, Lucian will survive this one. He's got flash and heal up, and Morgana's 6. I actually think that they could just turn around and win a straight up skirmish. So
Even with the burst of Graves?
yeah, even with the burst of Graves, you can just heal.
All right.
He'll be fine.
All
Morgana
right,
can
let's
clean
play
up
it out,
afterwards.
see whether Raid is the guy, whether he's getting 2 in a row. Oh, the black shield.
Oh
though.
no, he shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have eaten. Oh no, wait, no, he's good.
Still good?
All right, no, not
Oh,
anymore.
the heal.
That was a nice duck binding. 2 bindings, actually, from Morgana. Look really nice there. And is Radio right? Lucian's very, very low.
Oh, and he dies in the end. I don't know whether we count that, though, because it is a 2 for 1.
No, I definitely count that. Radio was wrong.
Wait. So wait, you can clearly see that, when I said that purple side would win, they did kind of win.
That's true.
Yeah,
too.
they did. Definitely. We're giving it to purple side. So I
So 2 out of 2.
okay, you were wrong. What? Because he died.
That
So-
at least walked so far, by the way.
Yeah.
To get in there. It's like all the way from the base almost.
Well, blue side had to get a jungler in to do anything. So I mean, in a 2v2 situation, I was
Yeah, if you're
obviously
in the bot
correct.
lane, generally you should never have to rely on the jungler, right, Radio? Like,
Yeah.
that's how it works.
Jungler
You
shouldn't
just
have
have
been
to
in
Kind
the
of a
be
bit
god.
salty there. Do you have to say something to Spooks on stream?
jungler should. I've learned that junglers are never bot lane. So they're always just mids.
All right, got it. Well, we have our final clip, and this is more of a what will happen. It's not a who's going to survive, and we have to observe the jungler on this one. That's the only clue that
So
you
I
get.
put Radio's true predicting skills to the test.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know when we're going to get the pause. Oh, my goodness. Okay, Radio, take us away.
That's a little bit more
I have no
jungle
idea
pressure,
myself.
by the way.
So I honestly think that right here that they're screwed. Like blue side are screwed. At least one of them is gonna die. I think Vayne will die here. At this point I'm assuming that TF isn't bad and we'll lock in a gold card. So
Ooh,
We'll see-
I don't
we'll see
know.
what
It could be
happens.
Reginald. We
that is
don't
true.
know. Actually, no, it couldn't. This is the OCA server. All right, we're playing it out. So Vayne's going to survive.
No.
Well, that was a good landing.
Some reasonable plays being made. Uh-oh. Radio.
Oh, the wild cards.
I don't know what to tell
So,
you, but I think you're wrong.
as you can see on stream, it was Chief Sangi who was playing Tristana. I think he was playing the Tristana there, and I think all he did was cast. He didn't really do much that fight.
Well,
So,
look, it is Chief Sangi. We had him on last week, and we understand. Yeah, we totally understand.
I mean, if you played this game with him, I'm pretty sure he'd probably get all 3 wrong, and then probably kind of.
You did pretty well. I'm quite impressed.
So,
Yeah.
so as far as I'm concerned, that was 3 out of 3, right?
Well, I think if you feel like you were 3 out of 3 in your heart, then we'll give it to
I
you.
definitely
But
do.
in all honesty, he was I think 1 for 3.
I don't know.
Was it 1 for 3 or
1
2
for
for 3?
The first one was good. The second one, I don't know. I think you got it half right. If
Yeah.
that's even
So
possible.
2.5.
You
Yeah.
can have 2.5. You can have
2.5
That's
out of
not how
3.
math works, buddy. 1.5.
2.5 out of 3. That sounds pretty good. I don't know.
Wait, did you get the last one wrong? What did you even
Yeah,
say?
you
that-
said Vayne was
I
going
said Vayne was going to die. At least
Oh,
one of them was going to die.
Okay.
Okay.
Assuming that TF wasn't bad and would lock in a gold card.
All right. Well, in the end, TF was bad, but Vayne died. So I guess you can have half for that as well. So 2 out of 3.
Well
2
done.
out of 3. Nailed
That's
it.
not bad.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty. But
It's
now
not good enough.
it's time for us to go over our groups C and D matches, and this was a lot more exciting, I like to say, than our first week, which was pretty predictable, honestly, because we had our top 2 teams, and they were honestly what we were thinking. Whereas the top 2 teams that came through this time could have been anything.
Yeah, I mean, everyone kind of expected these groups to go a little bit more one-sided, I think. There was a lot of really interesting stuff happening. These teams are really good. The groups obviously were pretty stacked. The group of death, very aptly named. Yeah, it was just much closer, I think. Just with the amount of wins, the amount of upset wins here as well. I mean, A and B were the great games to watch, but we didn't know who was going to make it until the very last day, which is probably the best kind of league.
Yeah, great games to watch, but the outcomes were what most people were predicting. Whereas this time, I mean, LMQ came out of the gate incredibly strong and then fell off.
Yeah, the train got derailed a little bit there, unfortunately, for
Oh
LMQ.
dear. But Radio, I want to hear your thoughts. What was your opinion on how Group C and D went? Was it as you predicted?
Yeah, basically, I mean...
Well, we just saw your prediction skills to the test.
Yeah,
So you're pretty
like
good.
everything that happened in Group C, I pretty much... Let's just say I predicted in my heart, so...
That was a terrible, unintentional pun.
Oh dear. Oh wow.
The heart.
Wow. Chilean
that was-
pace of time card.
that was card-worthy.
Incredible.
It was definitely
Incredible.
intentional.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can give you back some of my overflowing.
He's got a
cards.
lot from the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. If you guys were tuned in last week, that's for really bad puns.
Yeah.
You get a red card. Yeah. So I've
He's
got
basically drowning in them at this point.
heaps. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Group D was probably the most interesting group, though.
I
of the
thought
two
so.
that came out. Like, everyone seemed to think that Alliance was going to come through as the best Western team. And lo and behold, Cloud9 managed to get their own breakers.
Yeah. Well, Kaboom Esports.
Yeah,
They
man.
are
Oh,
the gatekeepers.
Man. The upsets.
They are
they
the
are
gatekeepers. It's basically Fabby of
I
worlds.
saw a great post on Reddit, by the way. They're the unofficial League of Legends World Championships. They hold the belt because they beat the last team to hold it, which was Alliance, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so someone went back and tracked the winners of the World Championship from Fnatic winning in Season 1, and then if you ever beat them in a game, they basically said that, like, now you hold the belt, and that kept passing, and Alliance were the last people to hold it, and now Kaboom beat them. So they're actually, like, unofficial championship belt holders, which I thought was pretty
So
cool.
are they going to hold it for the next year? Or
We'll see. I mean, it might go around Brazil a couple times now,
Yeah.
because they're probably
I
going to
think
go
so.
back home
and it'll
compete again.
come back to us, you know.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
It stayed in
Brazil
China
has a
for
lot of
while.
Korean players now, so I mean,
That's
you
true.
can imagine the pass around could happen. Who knows? That being said, Kaboom definitely looked good
Yeah.
in that one game that they played. Other than that, they just got kaboomed by everyone
Well, I mean,
else.
you know, Crumbs being right and stuff was, like, pretty great. But, I
Yeah.
mean, we said when we talked about the groups last time that if anything was going to go wrong, it was one of these teams upsetting another team. And that's exactly what happened. Like,
Yeah.
Nigel Whiteshield potentially couldn't have not made it out of this group with Alliance and Cloud9 going through. And Alliance just got dream crushed by Kaboom.
Yeah, and LMQ started off so strong. Their first 2 games of the first day were so beautiful. If we go back to Group C, of course. But then they just fell off so sadly afterwards in their games against OMG and Fnatic as
Let's
well.
not talk about Fnatic, please.
Oh.
I know you forgot them in your predictions all that long ago, but that was a
Reckless-
heartbreaking bunch of
I
losses.
felt a bit heartbroken. I'm
Yeah.
a huge Reckless fanboy.
He played really well.
You did. You got a pentakill. He went 18-0-4, I think, in one of his games.
Yeah,
Something like that.
So
But then you see
apparently
Fnatic
he can
just
still
fall
play
off
League of
and-
Legends, but it just doesn't seem to work out towards the end. And they beat Samsung Blue, the only team that could. That's the really
Yeah.
interesting part, is the fact that everyone was beating everyone in Group C, but it ended up shaking out as semi-predicted.
I think maybe like it kind of brings to the point that maybe like I think since the kind of group stages went kind of like 6-0, 5-1, 4-3. I mean 4-2. It kind of like shows like how league's kind of evolving a lot in terms of like how other teams are kind of catching up with other teams and like causing a lot of upsets rather than just being like kind of a straight like a very structured kind of predictable group stage outcome.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right, and I think it's really, really cool seeing the regions sort of coming together to a point where people can be taking games off one another, and I think that's what's going to be really exciting.
I actually really like how NA is like with there's two NA teams that went through to the round of 8.
Yeah,
it was really cool. But like even though I think Europe last year were a lot stronger.
Europe.
I don't like.
I think it's like more to do with consistency, which is what people pointed out. It's like the teams are clearly good. Like Alliance are a great team full of great players, and Fnatic have shown that they can compete on the world stage as well. But when
push came to shove, it didn't.
When the games you lose look like you're playing from like a wildcard region or something, not to diss those guys, but
yeah,
like it's just I don't know.
Well, I mean,
basically, they look like
you can rag on Europe all you want. You can rag on Europe all you want, but they did end up going 50-50 against Korea.
Yeah.
So of course, Fnatic going 1-1 against Samsung Blue, and Alliance going 1-1 against Najin White Shield, and they had the most convincing win over Najin White Shield. It's just a bit sad that they couldn't hold themselves together for their other matches. Yeah. But oh well, we'll see whether Europe can make it next year. But this time, not going to happen. Of course, it's going to be Chinese, Korean, and North American.
TSM.
And TSM.
TSM.
Just definitely need to throw that out there. But let's move on to what we thought the top plays were, because there was some massive action that happened over the weekend. Of course, we can't bring you all of them. There's at least one play in particular that I kind of wish that we could have, but we just couldn't fit it in. But we do have 5 fantastic plays to bring you. Let's bring up the first one straight away. This is, of course...
Oh, man.
The Shook steal and kick.
You guys want to talk about Alliance's consistency? When Shook's playing well, his team looks like one of the best teams in the world. And then, unfortunately, Shook did not play this well every game, but that was just a... Like, this is, by the way, he already got 5 kills for his team before this happened. This was like the 5th play in a row. It's just amazing to watch.
No, that's Shook, actually.
No, you're just replaying the Lee Sin kick. Look how beautiful. I think maybe Watch kind of screwed up by like putting himself in a position to get kicked into his team, but
he was still in range to smite that as well, I think.
Yeah,
he was just too confused. He's like, how is this European team beating us so handily?
Yeah, and this, of course, was the game where Alliance took Najin White Shield out in a perfect game, which is just ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
For Europe versus Korea. So really well played game, but as you said, consistency is a big thing, especially for Shook.
Yeah.
When he looks good, he looks absolutely unstoppable.
And when he looks good, he makes Froggen look even better as well.
Yeah.
That's
Froggen's pretty good.
Yeah, he is. And so Froggen doesn't necessarily need much help, but when he's looking good, I mean...
Well, that can be said for any kind of mid-jungle matchup.
Wow!
Yeah, I was going to say,
shots have been fired.
About the mid-jungle matchup?
I think like a lot of times people said in our team that, mid laner will never do well unless, jungler's holding his hand.
Can I have some jungle pressure, please? I think you probably hear that one fairly often. But let's go to our second play. This is, of course, going to be LMQ versus Fnatic, and this is going to be the play that Peke makes / Reckless makes.
Yeah, this is a really insane team fight around Dragon. So Fizz is hanging out, gets low, but gets always low. Cynide's forced to flash over the back here. And Fnatic start a pretty insane counter-engage here. And just pretty much watch Peke bait everyone into oblivion. Yellowstar gets killed, whatever. But the rest of this is just silliness.
And the double invulnerability as well from Peke into the flash is absolutely beautiful.
It's gross.
Yeah, this team fight was insane. Again, like talking about European teams and their consistency, when they're playing well, they look incredible, but when they're not, they look less good. But they looked amazing in this clip here. I think my favorite thing has to be, after all this happens, not only the Rumble ult, which kind of cuts everyone off, Yellowstar, by the way, beautiful Janna ultimate there, pretty much cuts the team in half, moves Ackerman towards the carry so he can go down. No Name's caught completely out of position now. And then Pekka here, not only does he use his ult, then the Zhonya's. After all this has happened, after all the damage has come out, he flashes forward, double roots them with his W, and then just blows them up with the rest of his spells. And somehow lives. He played this flawlessly.
And I think that was a light slinger as well, coming out from Reckless to get the perfect double kill on both of them as it came out. So it was just beautifully done. And that being said, I want to bring up our next play because this is one of my personal favorites, and this is LMQ actually looking good as opposed to towards the end of the weekend.
As you said, they look pretty good generally over the week, but they look really good in this game.
Straight onto Peke, and this is of course the same matchup that we watched last time, and this is how it can work out in the opposite. And of course, Cyanide just finds himself in a horrible position. That set them up to win this game.
Yeah, they take Baron here, and then I think the next team fight they win, and the game's over. So
I think I'm going to give props to Cyanide here for dying for his mid laner.
Well, he always dies for his mid laner. That's his job.
That hook is the positioning is fantastic, and the layering of all his ultimates is just so beautifully played. LMQ in the first day had the best teamfight synergy that I've ever seen from them.
Yeah.
I actually think XPK copped every single ultimate.
He even had a wind wall in the face doing absolutely nothing. Just
when you're
putting
trying
some
to
wind there.
siege, you do whatever it takes to kill the Xerath. You really have to.
Yeah.
If
that's
that means
exactly
sacrificing your team, as long as you get the Xerath, it's okay.
Yeah. Just like when Thresh is missing, maybe don't stand close to walls. Is
Yeah.
the tip to learn there.
I think that's probably a good idea. Or maybe ward over the side if you're going to try
Also a
and
thing,
defend
yes.
that ridiculously, almost indefensible inner
Yes,
turret.
the death turret, I believe.
Yeah,
is called.
it is definitely the death turret. But our next play, which is going to be our second one, is ridiculous. This is, of course, Peke
Oh, this is
1v1 onto Dade. And let's just play it at full speed now, and you guys can experience it.
Got
and
him.
then we'll go through exactly why
Yeah.
it was so beautiful.
And I think I'm going to give full credit to Peke here, but definitely a few things happened that made this pretty interesting. Oh, and of course, tries to farm, finds out that he's about to get jumped by Talon, managed to ult just in time there, I believe, just after Dade finished ulting. And then this part's pretty cool. The flash away is great, but the fact that he kills the golem with that shuriken, which gives him the health relic from the jungle mob to give him just enough life to live with.
He also
absurd.
threw one random auto attack off on that golem in the middle of that 1v1 in order to mean that his shuriken finishes off Dade and the golem at the same time. So
Calculated, right?
I don't know whether that was
it was
calculated, but it
definitely
looked
intentional.
beautiful.
Like it didn't misclick at all. There's no way. He would have missed
There's no way he could have possibly moved into the jungle
he's
mob.
just that good that he just did the math in his head and knew that he would survive
Yeah.
only if he killed the golem.
Ah,
So
Radio, always optimistic. It's beautiful.
Well, as a fellow pro player, I understand you doing these calculations in your head.
Radier confirmed as good as Peke.
Yeah,
There you go.
Oh, easily.
Whenever I survive on
Easily.
1 HP, I always knew in my mind that it was going to happen.
Absolutely no chance involved.
No
there.
chance.
We're going to be having a look at the regionals over the weekend to see whether that in fact does happen. And if you die once, then we're judging you, okay?
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, fair enough. But we are going to go into our number one clip. This is, of course, the incredible turnaround by Cloud9 against Najin Whiteshield in what was a very close game up until this point, and Balls is basically a god.
Yeah, this Rumble Ultimate is a little silly, as
It
we'll
was.
see.
It's just like, if you slow it down and watch, it's just like you see the whole team just standing on it and like just dying.
Yeah, you noted as well, when we'll watch it back, we'll see it, but Zephyr just takes so much damage between Corky Rockets and the Rumble Ultimate that he's just easy food for Sneaky here. But yeah, 5-0 ace by Cloud9. And this for me really just illustrates how good of a team fighting team Cloud9 are when they show up to play. But we're going to watch this again in slow-mo, and Balls is just, he's really good at this game.
And it was actually Zephyr trying to make the play as well, coming in stealth to his Twitch, that really screwed them over here.
Yeah, that rocket knocking off Watch's Banshee's Veil was
Now
pretty
you
dumb as
look
well.
at this. Oh, look at that Rumble ulti.
Yeah, great Zenith as
It's
well by
ridiculous.
Balls. And Zephyr's just done. Gorilla's like dead as well. And then Sneaky's able to clean up here.
They just cop the Corky Rumble combo.
And this is one of the things where we've seen like quite a bit of Rumble actually. Not obviously in the first group part of the group stage. In A and B we saw a lot of it, but in C and D there was plenty of it going as well. And when you play these comps, you must play absolutely perfectly in team fights if you're going to get any work done. And for a team like Cloud9 against the Korean team, even though they are the third Korean seed in Najin Whiteshield, to play that well in a team fight situation, get a clean team fight ace is just incredible play.
Yeah, and it definitely does make things look a little bit more positive for Cloud9 moving out of the group stage and now into a quarterfinal matchup against arguably the best team in Korea.
Well, I mean, they were the team that seemed like they could compete at an international level because their shot calling is so good, it's so on point. They've got great map movement, but it's just a matter of whether solo lane is going to get outclassed in every single lane that they could never just be together and play as a team. And actually, they've held up pretty well in lane, so Cloud9 have looked really, really good.
Yeah, they certainly did. And speaking of Rumble, this is actually a perfect segue into our featured champion here.
Nicely done.
Oh yeah. Segues. I really like gravity-based movement vehicles. Anyway,
Oof.
Rumble, of course, amazing dragon pressure, team fight changing ultimate, and weak to lane swaps. Radiant, Rumble's been seeing this massive resurgence, and coming from Oceania, where we really, really liked Rumble a little while ago. Of course, I think it was towards the end of Season 3, we had a lot of Rumble players that were really, really good. Why do you think that he's coming back in such a big way?
Well, it's coming as shown in the as the projector just then.
Yeah.
In the slide just then, his dragon pressure is just ridiculous. I mean, I think especially in Oceania, a lot of early games are kind of like decided on the first dragon fight, and having that Rumble on your team and having like something like a Rumble Corky Jarvan combo like during the dragon fight. I mean, Oceanic teams, we love to fight for dragons. Like we hate giving up dragons.
I think you just love to fight in general.
Yeah, we love to fight in general, and I think maybe not just specifically. I think also the fact that we kind of saw a lot of Rumble in Worlds kind of would probably just have hyped us up to play Rumble even more. But just really thinking about the way the Oceanic like kind of meta plays, where we always fight for first dragon pretty much no matter what, and then like taking advantage of that fact, if you have a strong dragon fight, and you just like it's almost guaranteed that you'll pretty much AC opposition if they do something stupid and overextend in the dragon fight. And I think that's basically one of the main reasons why Rumble is played. And he's just a good champion overall. And I think especially since I think a while ago the kind of reason why Rumble was played so much was the same. But back then he had like a lot of counters, like Renekton kind of destroyed Rumble in lane. Aurelia destroyed Rumble lane, but now now the meta's kind of shifted. Renekton's not played anymore. Aurelia doesn't get Wits End anymore, and Rumble's kind of laning isn't even terrible anymore.
Yeah,
and I think that's also a reason why his laning is good, unless he's going through a lane swap. But his laning is good, his team fighting is good. He's a good champion.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Basically, is what
he's
saying,
a good champion.
I think.
Sorry. I was just going to ask, do you think now with the change in how the lane swap works, where the support's often sent with the top laner, do you think that helps Rumble out as well, and is another reason why he might be seeing a little bit of a resurgence?
Yeah, I mean, since it was so weak in lane swaps, now you just kind of go farming with your jungler, and his flame spitter and his Q and E, do fine. Like a lot of the times, like a good lane swap champion is one that can actually kind of farm with the jungler and also roam relatively well. I mean, like if you see like a three man gank coming out of like the top laner, the support, and the jungler, like Rumble's E actually provides pretty good ganking power, especially when you hit it twice. It's like a ridiculous slow even at level 1.
Yeah.
And like if you combine that with like an Elise, it's just like such a strong kind of roaming force, and his wave clear is like, although it's kind of crappy at level 1, it still provides like kind of decent.
Yeah. And you do AoE against jungle creeps as well, I guess, which is important. But anyway, Julian,
I think actually all the experience you lose, like the reason Rumble gets hurt so much in lane swaps is because when you don't get experience, because you're double jungling or you have a support in your lane, that hurts you a lot because you're really, really level dependent as Rumble because you do so much damage just based on your spells alone. So I think it's funny that in groups A and B, Rumble just dominated every game he played. And then once we started watching group C and D, everyone's obviously playing Rumble. He got banned a lot more as well. But people are like, wait a second, if we lane swap, this is actually pretty good for us. So the meta kind of shifted in a week, which was really interesting. That's what's so cool about Worlds being like a month-long tournament.
Yeah, and do we think that now that Rumble's sort of seen this gigantic resurgence, are we going to see him on the ban lists coming through, or do you think that he's something that people can deal with, but not necessarily, they're gonna pick it as often as they like, but they're not going to necessarily ban it away?
I think in Oceania, I think it definitely will come out being banned quite a bit. Because right now lane swapping isn't very popular in our meta, just based off kind of a lot of scrims we had recently and like other recent tournaments. But I think Rumble will probably face like probably a great deal amount of bans this weekend, because I think there's definitely quite a lot of Rumble mains in our scene as well. So not just Worlds. So
yeah, I can actually think of about 3 off the top of my head that used to play a lot of Rumble, but we'll see whether they bring that out. Of course, we are going to find that out on the weekend. But do you think in Worlds we're going to be seeing any potential bans coming through? Because of course, Darius is a fantastic Rumble. Bolsh displayed in that last clip that he's absolutely incredible. Ackerman's Rumble was actually going quite well in the beginning of the week. So do we think that might be a thing?
I don't think it will be like a ban specifically, but I think a lot of gameplay will be like drafting will be based around a Rumble.
Okay.
Like then teams might, so when I say like it won't be banned specific, I say like teams might be like planning to play certain team comps into a Rumble, or like they try to abuse Rumble's weaknesses somehow. And like but I think like it won't be banned specifically. I think there'll be a lot of drafting based around Rumble.
All right, that's a very good point. But I would like to move on just quickly. We're going to hop over to our featured players. This is, of course, going to be Hai from Cloud9 will be our first one. Of course, the shot caller, the mid laner, and often the barometer for his team, to use a quote that my friend Jake Spawn Tiberi really enjoys. And his Zed was fantastic versus
He stole that from me, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. That's
I think he probably stole it from an air pressure system. I don't know. That's what a barometer does. So.
But I mean, Hai, this is my question coming into Worlds for Cloud9, was whether or not Hai would show up. Everyone's talking about how well he's been playing in Korean solo queue and all this stuff, and he is a big playmaker. He is a carry for his team a lot of the times, and he is a big shot caller. But when Hai isn't playing well, as you said, he's a barometer. So that sets the bar pretty low for the rest of your team if you're like picking talent into Zed and getting destroyed, which is what happened in the game. But when he played well, especially in that Najang White Shield game, he played phenomenally.
He did, and also in a lot of the games that they lost as well, he was making calls around the map to split push, to avoid these engagements that they don't want and take strategic objectives when they catch their opponents off guard. And this is something that he managed to do after losing lane, which I found really, really impressive, because to keep your head after you've been trashed, basically, is just really, really difficult. And everyone that's played League of Legends understands that part of you dies when you've had this horrible experience in lane. Of course, Radio doesn't know what I'm talking about.
I never lose lanes.
Yeah, he's never lost a lane before in his life, but I definitely know exactly how it feels. And
that's why I started jungling. I was like, I don't like these lanes anymore. It's too traumatic.
You're jungling because you don't know how to handle lanes.
But he definitely has
PvE,
this incredible ability to make clear calls after he's had a bad experience, and I find that really, really impressive. And do you think that that's really what gives him his edge as a shot caller and what makes Cloud9 a fantastic strategic force, especially late game?
I mean, they're just a great shot calling team. And if that's Hyde doing a lot of the work, especially mid to late game, then he deserves full credit, even though he's, not playing nearly as well in his lane as he could maybe. So, yeah, I mean, Hyde's awesome. He deserves a lot of credit here.
Yeah. I think having like the ability to kind of shot call when you're like being trash is actually really, really important, because like everyone can shot call when you're winning ahead. Like you've got so much control, you've got so many options. And but when you're behind, you have very limited options, and you also have to kind of like bear especially since you lost lanes, you kind of have to like bear the responsibility of the loss, or like you feel like you have to bear the responsibility of the loss. And I think like being able to shot call under pressure, especially after you've lost lane and after you've lost after you're like really behind in the game, it'll enable you to like win so many more games when you're behind. It'll actually kind of ramp up your like statistical win rate, if that makes sense.
Well, that's probably why Hai was so good in Korean solo queue. Not only did he play so many different roles, but he also managed to climb really, really quickly, probably because his game sense is so good.
Yeah, especially like during an international, like Worlds, like the biggest tournament there is. If you can keep your head cool under pressure, like it's different to like getting trashed in solo queue and being able to play like calmly there, but like getting trashed on a world stage in front of 400,000 people, but keeping your cool and leading your team to victory, that's impressive.
Yeah, it definitely is. But we do have to move on to our second featured player. This is, of course, going to be Hart. And Hart didn't get a lot of sort of props over the weekend, but his plays that he was making for Samsung Blue, especially towards the late game, were unbelievable. And it seems like this team, they've got really solid players, but the playmaking comes from the jungle and support.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of that with like Thresh seeing so much play in every single game so far in Worlds. I mean, Hart's just a player that really anchors this team. Like, we've all seen Deft and how crazy he can be. We saw he can go a little bit deep.
A little bit overly ham, maybe?
I like an AD carry that kind of, let's just say, incredibly manly.
It was very manly from Deft. But Hart's just playing really consistently. I would have maybe given it to Deft if he hadn't played quite so silly in certain games.
Yeah,
but I mean, Hart's just warding really well.
Well, it's probably because Deft had so much faith in Hart, and Hart was being pushed right.
Hart's on the other side of the map. He's like, oh no, sorry, buddy, not this time.
Where's my safety blanket?
I'm not that fast. I am playing Jono, but I can't get there that quickly.
But also his warding and his ward control in the late game is something that really makes Samsung Blue that massive powerhouse from Korea as well. Like his ability to get pink wards in the right positions, to sweep the wards of the enemy team, and to put that chokehold. And this is something that, of course, the Chiefs managed to do a lot in their games, is they ward forward as the game progresses, as they get more and more ahead and strangle the opponent.
We can just have like a layer of wards going around their base, and just we pretty much just buy sweepers and pink wards and just completely take over. And that's we kind of learned how to do that from the Koreans.
Yeah.
And we love doing that. We love just like when we're ahead, we love just like getting deep wards in. Like our jungler would just call, it's like, everyone come now, let's all get deep wards in, let's take over Baron, let's take over every single objective in the map, and we'll choke them in and win the game that way.
Yeah, and the fact that Samsung Blue are known as like one of the best late game teams in the world, that's a lot of credit to Hart, who gets them there to that late game by consistently giving them vision and making sure they keep up the pressure they need to.
Yeah, and making plays as well. He lands the hooks that he needs to in order to start the fights in the late game that they really need. And often Samsung Blue is a team that comes out a little bit slowly in the early game, but they know what to do to make these wins happen in the late game. And so it means that, if they go even in every lane, they don't care, because they know that they can get the vision control and they have the ability to make the plays.
Yeah, I think they're a team that plays kind of a very kind of solid, consistent style, and I think that actually will like give you a higher win rate than like playing a kind of a very kind of, let's say, psycho style. But I think everyone
very oceanic style.
Yes, very oceanic style. But I think everyone loves to see kind of a very like oceanic style of play instead of a very kind of consistent, very conservative style of play. But I have to agree with them strategically though. From a strategical sense, I agree. But from an audience perspective, I'd like to see more. Like to see more cycle. I think
a little less deft, a little more imp is what you're saying.
A little bit more Uzi, maybe?
Yeah, a lot more Uzi.
Yeah, a bit more Uzi is what we need. Okay, you heard it from Radio first. If only the Oceanic meta was at Worlds, things would be way more exciting. That actually brings us to our next segment, and I'm really excited about this one. Of course, I want to do some learning. We, of course, have the rank 1 solo queue player from Oceania here.
As we said before, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. But I want you to take us through how to play Tristana effectively, because we've been seeing so much of her around Worlds and, of course, just recently. And I'm just wondering whether there's like a way that you can talk us through maybe the best way to play her out as the game progresses.
Well, that's a game, like, first of all, Tristana's a very kind of mechanically unintensive champion. I think that the important thing about Tristana is like kind of know, like, more game knowledge. Is like you have to know when to position correctly, when to like how are you going to get your farm, how are you going to survive through mid game, what are your kind of just like how are you going to snowball in team fights. And you know, as you can see, like we saw the imp clip, we're seeing the imp clip just here.
Reset City.
Yeah, the Reset City, yeah, basically. And you know, like I think pretty soon here you're about to see imp jump in just 2v1, and this might seem kind of crazy, but the fact that he has kind of a zillion just like enables him to go so much more psycho. Like you see right here, he's just getting buffed by kind of support mid laner, and he gets zillion ulted right there.
It's one of those.
He takes like 4 different abilities to the face and just doesn't care as well.
Fine. Totally fine. But as you noted, it's kind of one of those things where you have to be very careful with an ability like Rocket Jump, because it's really good. It can snowball team fights very quickly, but if you use it incorrectly, it's bad. And
I think that's one of the very important things about Tristana, is knowing when to Rocket Jump correctly, and also knowing kind of the damage of your kind of. Like a lot of people don't notice, but like the damage of ultimate is actually quite big. You can actually, from like half HP, even in lane, you can very easily burst somebody down with a rocket and E and auto.
That being said, we're going to see in this clip coming up that you have to calculate that damage, otherwise you can definitely knock someone to safety.
Yeah, that's bad news bears as well.
So we're going to see Wild Turtle. So even the pros that are playing at Worlds sometimes get it just that little bit wrong.
Yeah, so like you see here, like Uzi obviously thought that Kaylin would die, but I don't know, no discredit to Uzi, but Kaylin was very, very low, and she did actually burn her flash as well.
Like Uzi was the Kaylin.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
So definitely all credit to Kaylin. Just that extra little like HP steal. Yes. No worries.
Yes, but like, you know, I think having that is also very important. And like also in bot lane, when like a lot of the times in 2v2s, your trades will come off to like a very kind of close margin. And if you can successfully knock somebody away and have them die to your E, or just die to any sort of dot, damage over time, then it will actually change kind of the 2v2 result outcome. Whereas if you leave it too late, you might actually die, and like it might actually like won't be, obviously it's not good. You're gonna lose. But from a kind of team fight perspective, I actually think that Tristana, you have to be very careful when playing with the Tristana, especially around the mid game area. Sometimes it might be more kind of beneficial just to give up objectives, especially if you're playing kind of like at the 80 matchups like Tristana versus Corki, because there is no possible way that, you know, unless the Tristana is very far ahead, that Tristana is going to have more of like objective control than like a Corki or a Lucian, who just kind of spike really hard. Like Corki, once he gets a Trinity Force, he just spikes really hard. Like I'm sure if you watch a lot of Worlds games, you see the moment Corki gets a Trinity Force, they're going to go straight. They're going to abuse their power spike and go straight for objectives. But like Tristana doesn't have that mid game power spike, so a lot of times you might see like a team instead of contesting a dragon, they might decide to, we'll send Tristana to the side lane to farm, give up the Dragon Ball, try to take other objectives instead, and they'll try to play more safe. Play more safely with the Tristana, because they know once they get to late game, the Tristana is just going to dump stall over Corki.
Yeah. And once you get to that, of course, draw a bead passive, making her range extend over time. That level 18 mark, as we can see demonstrated quite perfectly in this clip, is going to mean that you're basically a solo siege machine. Yeah. And with a team comp like this that has so many shields, it's just so hard to deal with.
I think the easiest way probably to sum up what Radio's saying about Trist is watch your rocket jumps, because you need to use them very carefully. Secure your farm, because you not only need gold to kind of get through your mid game, but you need experience very badly to make sure you get your levels for your passive. And watch your teammates, because they're the ones that are protecting you.
Yeah, basically. And you see, like, pretty much a lot of World teams will draft very carefully around the Tristana, because, like, that being said, if you have zero mid-game power or zero objective control with Tristana, it's very hard to make it past that phase. And, like, you can see clearly here, there's, like, a Lulu, they have a Lulu mid with a Tristana, and already that's going to be providing, like, a lot of kind of peel and protection for her.
Yeah.
So once they pretty much reach that market, they're probably not going to lose to the team.
Yeah, that's true. So thank you very much, Derek, for that. Being able to fill us in on just how to play probably one of the easiest champions in the game, but really, really difficult to master and play effectively, especially in the higher ends of the difficulty. But let's move on to the next segment, which is going to be our predictions for the quarterfinals. And this one I'm very, very excited about. Very, very excited about.
Why is that?
Of course, the first game is going to be TSM beating Samsung White, and that's going to be beautiful. Oh, man, isn't that going to be fun, guys? And then Samsung Blue against Cloud9. And there's a few other games coming up as well, but it has been removed from our screen. But guys, what are your predictions for, let's go with the first two games first, of course. TSM versus Samsung White and Cloud9 versus Samsung Blue.
I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm pretty sure TSM are going to lose. I think they'll lose 3-0 as well.
How can you not have faith? They're the best team in the world, man.
Samsung White? Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, yeah, I have to get a little bit real here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very difficult
If they win
match.
a game, I think that'll be a big boost for them, and they might be able to carry it. But I think they're going to try and play their best here and look to win a game, basically, because Samsung White are looking really, really good.
Yeah, Radio, who do you think?
Well, Samsung White's going to win. But as much as I like Wild Turtle and Lost Boy, Samsung White will
Imp's
win.
your real favorite. He's your real hero. Yeah, that's pretty
damn
aggressive.
good.
He's a good player.
He's not bad.
He's
Slightly better than Radio.
He's okay.
Oh. Maybe.
I don't know whether his ego can really handle even admitting that. Let's be honest. Well, let's go to that next one. Of course, Samsung Blue versus Cloud9. Let's have that first from Radio. Who do you think is going to take it?
Samsung Blue. I mean, as much as I hate to follow the Korean hype train, I think Samsung Blue are going to beat Cloud9.
Okay, Julian?
I'm not sure, actually. This is slightly closer than TSM versus
I think so too.
Samsung White. Like, this is our other NA versus Korea matchup, I guess. And Cloud9 have a really weird style where they play like very objective focus, very shot call League of Legends, and they tend to play for their mid game. Like, they used to just win by winning lanes and then snowballing that way. They seem to not win lanes as much anymore, especially on this stage when players are so good. So I think if any team is going to beat them, at least any North American team, I think Cloud9 probably have the best shot, but they're going to have to like snowball through the mid game somehow, whether it's like really strong team fighting that we saw, or just, Meteos getting a few lanes ahead and then snowballing from there. Like, they need something, because if they get to late game, I don't think they can beat Blue. They just can't out team fight them.
Okay, so it looks like from this angle, it is going to be a Samsung semi-final, which is going to be incredibly exciting. Of course, Samsung Blue looking like the Achilles heel of the almost unstoppable Samsung White, who went they went perfectly through the group.
They did.
So
I actually
really
would have really loved to see a Samsung versus Samsung finals, not just semis.
I don't know. I just
loved
don't
that.
think it'd be that fun to have like
double
exactly the
Korean
same
team.
organization in the grand final. It's like, oh man. So I'm going for Samsung. Well, Samsung's going to win. Yay.
But from a kind of level of play perspective, I think it would be really exciting.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited that the match is being played, and I'm actually happy that it's not going to be the grand final. But the fact that we get to see it in Worlds is just going to be really, really cool. But let's go to the next matchup, which is going to be Najin Whiteshield versus OMG. Actually, let's start with that one. We can do the Edward Gaming Royal Club one afterwards. But OMG versus Najin Whiteshield. Who do you reckon is going to take it? China versus Korea. And I think Julian Peshtankar probably has a bit of an opinion.
I'm cheering for OMG, but I don't actually know if they can do it. Like, Whiteshield,
OMG looked so inconsistent.
they are. That's their team motto. We're inconsistent.
We have no idea what we're doing. Yeah.
Like,
No, it's
I
not
mean,
true.
Shield did as well, to be honest. They looked very beatable in a lot of different games over the weekend.
Especially that Alliance one.
Yeah, and OMG are arguably better than any of the teams that they played in Group D. So, but OMG have just been playing really hot and cold. Even their path to getting out of the group was a little shaky. So I'm not convinced that OMG can win here, but it's more a matter of like, again, it's kind of like the Cloud9 Blue matchup where if they have a really strong snowballing mid game, they'll steamroll Najin Whiteshield. But if Whiteshield just do what Shield do best and hang out and don't make mistakes or too
Sounds
many
like
mistakes,
you're on the fence. Sounds like you're just sitting on the fence.
Clear
call, do it right now.
It'll
Talk.
be close. OMG 3-2.
OMG 3-2, ready?
All right. I think that this kind of will be based on how OMG play in the day.
Yep.
And I think that since my nationality is Chinese, I will go for OMG because I have faith that although they were inconsistent, they'll see where they went wrong, focus, come back, and play well.
All right.
So
Heard it here
how about
first.
OMG 3-1?
Oh, 3-1. even more. I reckon it's Najim White Shield easily going to take it 3-0. But look, that's just me. And our next matchup, this is going to be the China versus China. So you can't even use your Chinese bias on this one because both of the teams are there. Of course, Edward Gaming versus Starhorn Royal Club. And Edward Gaming looked fantastic in their very last game. But Royal Club played fairly consistently, I'd say. Even though they did drop a few games, they were playing to a level that we were expecting. I think Edward Gaming is going to take this one pretty easily. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I picked them to win World, so I hope they win, because otherwise my prediction's going to look a little silly. They're supposed to be Samsung White in the final, but we'll see. This is a really weird matchup. So again, like a lot of Chinese teams, it's consistency-based. Do they play well enough? Can they play consistently enough? Uzi and Nami, obviously great carries here. That's a good matchup to watch. I think Royal's style actually plays really well against EDGs, just because they're so aggressive and they have such strong mid-game that they can probably beat EDG's late game, but EDG classically beat other Chinese teams. They're the dominant LPL team this season. So I think in a best of 5 especially, EDG are so good at adapting that they'll win, like probably pretty cleanly, probably 3-1.
And if someone can take care of Najin White Shield here, I mean, EDG just need to do exactly what they did in the LPL, which is take down all of the Chinese teams. Because they're the ones on that side of the bracket.
I think if OMG EDG is the semi-final, EDG have a really big leg up in that matchup. But even against Shield, like, again, if they play like they did in the very last game of the day that they played in, then they have a really good shot of winning. But they have to play well. And so far, China, with the exception of Royal, has looked a little either inconsistent or just awful, to be honest.
All right, so let's get the prediction down straight.
That pains me, by the way, to say that.
It's like a very short sentence, Julian. Who's going to win? EDG?
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Ready?
I like Royal Club, so I'm going with Royal Club.
Oh, the Uzi fan. The Uzi fan is out in force. Of course, those manly plays really doing it for him. I think it's going to be EDG as well, but I'm glad that we're at least a little bit split on this desk. But that is going to bring us to the end of the show, everyone. Unfortunately, we kind of wish that we could sit here and chat to you all day long, but unfortunately, it's just not going to be happening this time. But I'd like to put a massive thank you out, especially to Derek Radiatrang for coming on the show with us. Of course, giving up his really tight schedule full of scrimming.
Giving up his solo queue time.
Killing everyone.
His Smurf leveling.
Yep. So thank you very much for coming on the show. And of course, thanks to Julian Pacertime Kara as well for coming on. And massive thanks to Riot Benji sitting over there, slaving away on the production desk. What a monster. And make sure that you tune in for Worlds starting Friday, 6 p.m. And the quarterfinals are going to be starting in Busan, and it's going to be super exciting. But I have, of course, been Max Atlas Anderson. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next week.
The era of metal has begun. And metal shall prevail. For we know what they have done. 5 legends of our realm who sought to follow the path of their dark musings. But they did not know what they had summoned. Pentakill. To these creatures, there is but one thing left to do. Heavy metal!